So now we are on the poem where Du Fu is visiting a temple. This poem is actually in many editions, including the translation that I'm using. It's the first of Du Fu's poems. It's the one that they put in the first place in the chronology of all his complete poems. But I'm following another edition, so that's why I'm putting it here on number 11 instead. Actually, the whole ordering of poems in a chronological order is of course not an exact science. We are dealing with a time gap of more than 1200 years, so we cannot be sure exactly where each and every poem was written, but we can make educated guesses, and this is believed to be from the early part of his life, simply because Longmen is in Luoyang and Du Fu didn't visit Luoyang in the later part of his life. That much can be established, but whether it's the earliest one of them or whether it's a little bit later, that's a matter of debate. Actually, the edition that I'm using, it decides to put it a little bit later, based on the last line. It says 令人发深省, brought out in me deep awareness, which they think, the editors, honorable as they are, is a line that is not suited for a really young man, which, I mean, I must say, to me it seems like a very crappy argument. 令人发深省, even if you don't have deep awareness, you can write about it or pretend that you have. Anyway, Longmen is the site, of course, of the famous Buddhist grottos. It's in Luoyang, or close to Luoyang, and there is an amalgamation there of lots of Buddhist temples, and Fengxian is one of these temples, or was one of these temples, and we know that Fengxian was a temple in Longmen, close to Luoyang, built by the Empress Wu, so a couple of generations before Du Fu's time. Doesn't exist today anyway. And now he's visiting it. 游龙门奉先寺. All right, let's look at this. This is not, by the way, a regulated verse. It doesn't follow all the rules. We have rhymes in the wrong tone. 静影冷行. And also the parallelism here is a little bit lax. We'll get to that later. 以从招体有，更诉招体静. So if you think that reading Du Fu is something for you, and then you start looking at the first poem and you look at this, then you might sort of already regret your decision. What is 招体? 以从招体有. 招体 is a loan word from Sanskrit. It means temple. I'd already visited the temple, went on to stay over in the temple precincts. It means temple. It's loaned from the Sanskrit Chaturdesha. Chaturdesha means the 4 regions. So it's exactly the same word as Chinese 四方, that is the 4 regions. And it's used as a temple because it's this, originally at least, this word Zhaoti or Chaturdesha seems to have referred to a temple where no monks lived permanently, but it welcomed itinerant monks for meditation and staying over and so on. So I've already visited You, the temple, yes, and stay over in the Jing, the precincts of the temple, for the night. Su, of course, means to stay overnight. 阴鹤生虚赖，月灵散清影. Shadowy ravines, yes, produce piping from empty spaces. Yes, how to translate this? 虚赖, empty piping. So this piping, this is a type of expression, an expression that must be traced back to the second chapter of the Zhuangzi, where the Zhuangzi is talking about the 地赖 and 天赖. The 天赖 are the pipes of heaven. It's used as a metaphor for all the natural transformations, actually. And the piping of heaven, the symphony of the universe, you might almost say. And here we must understand it as sort of reflecting that sense, which was common, but also referring basically to hollow sounds. Like hollow sounds are heard from the dark valley or the dark ravines, and the moonlit forest scatter clear shadows. Yes, that's very straightforward. Nothing to go into there. Then this couplet is a little bit more strange. It says, 天阙相尾逼，云卧衣裳冷, or 衣裳冷. 天阙, this 天阙 is, there's a lot of debate about this 天阙. Heaven's towers, it says in the translation. Yes, heaven, 天, of course. 阙 means the towers on top of or around a city gate or a fortification, a gate tower. And I think the debate here comes partly because of this imperfect parallelism with the second line. So the 天阙, this is a noun, and 云卧is a verb. So it doesn't seem to be a very good parallelism here. But on the other hand, this is not a perfect regulated verse anyway, so we can deal with this half-perfect parallelism, I think, without much trouble. Heaven's towers, the most plausible explanation for what this means is simply the two peaks at Longmen, which look like a tower, or the two towers which together form sort of a gate into the area, or overlooking the area. 天阙相尾. This is also a nice expression. Constellations woof, we have in the translation. Yes, xiang is simply image, and here it is the image of the images in the sky, and wei, sort of a woof. You can sort of imagine the sky as a piece of decorated cloth. It's almost as in the famous psalm. The heavens declare the glory of God. The firmament showeth his handiwork, I think it says. So the handiwork, the woof of the constellations, pressing close above the heavens' towers. The constellations woof, press close. Very nice. I love this line. 云卧衣裳冷, lying among clouds, my clothes are cold. Yeah, that's not so difficult. 欲绝闻晨钟, 令人发深省. Yes, this extremely profound line that a young man could never have written. I don't know about that. 晨钟 is the morning bell. He's about to wake up. 欲绝, about to wake up. I hear the morning bell. The morning bell in the temple. Which he hears when he's about to wake. So we can say that he is actually wakened by the morning bell. And this makes him 令人发深省. Well, it says here actually, 深省, deep awareness. Xing is more often used in sort of, you say that 反省, for example, that you have a look at yourself, a deep look at yourself. Yeah, it's like he starts observing himself in a deeper way. But well, why not deep awareness? That is more or less the theme of the poem anyway. So perhaps Du Fu's first poem, perhaps not. Anyway, these 8 lines, I found them rather charming, honestly. Thank you for listening.